So in this video, what we're going to do is cover how many calories is too low for you to be consuming while aiming to try and retain muscle mass, because during your cutting period, you don't want to end out looking super skinny by slashing your calories too low. So in this video, we're going to cover it, so stay tuned. So how big can your deficit be? And I'm going to specify at the beginning, talking about specifically food, because this is the main issue that a lot of people have, is they'll cut their calories too low, which can cause more harm than good. I'm pretty sure a good bunch of you watching this video are probably hoping for me to say like this magic number, so you can kind of just take that and leave the video and that's it. The only issue is you have to remember, in fitness everything is person specific, because someone that's 5'2" is obviously going to have a different number to someone that's like 6'4", because everybody's body is slightly different. But there is a simple calculation that many people use, which is like a very good indication of how low your calories should ever get to. And that formula is simply 10 times whatever your body weight is in pounds, and this is whatever your kind of starting main maintenance weight typically is. So if you take me for example, my current weight is around 168 pounds, and I consume currently at this moment to maintain this type of level around 2,200 to 2,300 calories. You know what I mean? It slightly fluctuates, but that's the kind of realm I'm in. So if I took this kind of formula, that would say that my body weight of 168 pounds, the absolute lowest calories that I should ever get to is around 1,680 calories. So that wouldn't be the calories I start out with to start cutting. That would be at the very low end. So that would be virtually stepping on stage super shredded, if you get what I'm saying. So don't take the figure I'm about to tell you guys and literally go run and start consuming that from tomorrow, because that is not what you should be doing. That is the extreme end, where going below that is going to cause more harm than good in terms of your hormones and things like that. So don't use this number and go consume it from day one. TJ is not telling you to do that. So just to put that in practical terms, me at 2,300 calories now, if I want to start losing a bit more extra weight, I'd maybe reduce the calories down to 2,100 at first, stick with that for a good while. Then after I get another plateau and I'm not losing any weight after like 2 weeks, then I'd reduce it again down to like say 2,000, and I'd keep doing that, and then at maximum, at the absolute lowest I would go, would then be around the 1,700 calories that I mentioned. So let's cover another example. Let's say someone that's more overweight. So say if you're, let's just say my height again, so around 5'7", and you are currently around 220 pounds. That's quite a bit bigger. So now we did the 10 multiplier rule. That would put you at around 2,200 calories as your absolute lowest calories you should get to. And I know some of you probably watching instantly probably thought, that's not even that low of calories. They could probably lose even more weight if they went lower. But you have to remember, someone that was roughly around my height, that was probably consuming 4,000 calories. For them, that's a big slash, because that's virtually half their calories gone. And remember guys, this formula is telling you the absolute lowest in regards to food consumption. You can still create a bigger deficit by exercising and actually doing cardio as well. But the whole point is I want to make sure you guys focused on not reducing the food intake too low when you don't need to be. And you have to remember that if you exercise and do cardio, you won't have to reduce your calories so much, so you can do it more gradual. So when you start your cutting phase, say if you want to start off with a 300 calorie deficit, you could do 200 calories reduction in the food intake that you take, and then do 100 calories burnt on a cardio machine, which would give you then a 300 calorie deficit. And then you still do a mix of both as you go down. But the key thing is not to make the food go lower than that original number. And remember, the formula you're doing is based on your original weight. So as you lose weight, you don't then do the 10 times multiply each time, because obviously then it's going to change the number and it's going to get lower and lower and lower. It's all about your starting somewhat physique, doing it then. So for example, realistically, if you're someone that's halfway through your journey, it's going to be a little bit different. You have to remember, where was you at the beginning? You want the original weight you had to tell you how low you should probably go. Now, even though this kind of formula is really good at kind of quickly determining what the lowest calories you should ever get to is, there are still some rules you should still apply to them to make sure you still don't mess up. So number one would be, try and consume 1 gram of protein per lean body mass you have. For someone that's fairly slim to like average weight, just go by your standard body weight. It's close enough. So that would roughly be, if you're around 150 pounds, you try and consume 150 grams of protein. Where it differs is if you're overweight, because your lean mass will be much lower than what your current body weight is. So if you were the 220 pound person I mentioned earlier, probably aim for around 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So that'll put you more around the 160 to 180 kind of realm in terms of protein intake. The next one would be, if you're a male, do not drop your fat lower than 40 grams. Your body needs a certain level of nutritional fat. There's various things it does, like it helps with hormone production. So I wouldn't just drastically reduce your fats. That's not a smart thing to do. Fat is needed for your physique. Then finally, the final and probably most crucial one, which hopefully shouldn't apply to many of you watching this. If there is, then you shouldn't even be on this video, which is no super low calories. So if you're doing this formula and it comes out like 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories, do not go ahead with this kind of fat loss phase you're doing. You are already pretty underweight for you to be thinking about reducing your calories even further. If you still feel like you have a little bit of a podge, you're probably more in that skinny fat type of realm, and I have a whole different series of videos that covers that you can click on if you search my name, Chilling with TJ Skinny Fat. I've got like 7 episodes that cover that in detail. So if you're in that sort of realm and you're that light on the scale already, you shouldn't be aiming to reduce your calories. We want to try and build up your frame, build muscle mass, and do somewhat of a body recomp with you guys so your physique looks better rather than you trying to get lower to fight to get even less body weight on the scale. Because at the end of the day, I still want you guys to actually try and get the right goal. So it's not always about trying to lose weight. But anyways guys, hopefully this video helps you guys out. It's a simple way to figure out what is the absolute extreme level of calories you should ever get to. I would never plan on consuming less than 1,700 calories while doing a decent amount of cardio. You know what I mean? The only reason you'd ever go below these numbers is if you, for whatever reason, you don't want to exercise or you're very, very inactive. But in reality, if you're trying to lose weight, you should still be somewhat active. Trying to lose fat by just doing one thing, such as reducing calories, isn't the best way to go about it, purely because it just makes things a lot more strict and you'd have to deprive yourself a lot more. If you actually get out there, be active, you can afford to then consume more calories, which is always a good thing in my opinion. Anyways people, like, comment, subscribe to the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If so, please double tap it and subscribe if you're brand new. Anyways, stay getting gains. I'm gone. Deuces.
Make $1 million cash for you flatline. Make a master plan, watch it backfire.